I mean, Trump, at least you kind of know what you're going to get with him. He doesn't mince words. Harris is a neoliberal, which I absolutely despise, like, because she'll tell you, act like she cares, but she's still sending them billions of dollars and gaslights us and everything. The fact that we just had hurricanes in America where lots of people died, whole neighborhoods were flooded, destroyed, and Congress wouldn't even pass an appropriations bill to help pay for that. But they got billions to send to Israel, and they know I'll walk around like this with my Star of David out. Like I'll walk around with it, and people would hit me with the, "Oh, I really haven't been paying attention. I got to do more research." I'm like, "Research, dude? It's been a fucking sorry. It's been a damn year. Like that's not an excuse." So it affects you. If you have empathy, if you have humanity, there's no way you can go back to living your normal life. Like you can't just come here for a week. Oh, I'm doing some boxes. Oh, here, look at me on Instagram. I helped. Okay, I'm back to my normal life. Those type of people, we don't want those type of influencers here. We want people who actually give a shit about what's going on and be here for the long haul. You know, Bakra America. I hate America. Like the people.
On today's episode, we are joined by Jacob Berger. He is a Jewish American actor and social media influencer, and he has been extremely vocal in advocating for the rights of Palestinians. Right now, he is in Cairo, working directly on the ground to help Palestinians in need. Jacob, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
I would like to start maybe on a somber note. We were actually meant to film this a couple of days ago, but one of the reasons we postponed was the attack the weekend,
Yeah.
which, we saw some horrific scenes. I just wanted to know what was running through your head when you saw what happened that weekend.
Well, first of all, thanks again for having me on to talk about everything. It was obviously we've seen horrible videos and images come out of Palestine this past year that would give anyone nightmares. But there was just something about that particular attack that really watching the people burn to death in front of your very eyes and they're literally moving and I literally I can't get the image of the young guy, the 19-year-old. I'm sorry, I forget his name. They identified him and his mother burned to death. I can't get it out of my head. So as you saw, I made a reaction video. I like where I was that wasn't like a rehearsed script. The video that kind of went viral, it wasn't scripted. I literally saw that, like, I'm gonna react to this, and I think that's why people responded to it, because it was just me being real and raw. And I told you I had to reschedule our thing because I had to process what had happened and how the world could be so evil and let these kind of things go on.
Yeah, I mean, after a year, it's been so difficult, and it's kind of for me, I didn't even cross my mind to take a second to think about it because I've just become so desensitized. It's just one of those things where, I mean, even though it was possibly one of the most horrific scenes, I mean, we've seen so many, but for me personally, I I've just become so desensitized to it, um, to seeing all this horror. So my question to you is like, how do you keep in touch with your humanity when you see this kind of horror day in, day out?
Well, I stay in touch with my humanity because we have no other choice. You know, this is a battle of life and death, and it's just morally messed up the way that Israel and America do this to the people of Palestine, to also other, obviously going in Lebanon. I just watched a video, they carpet bombing a neighborhood in Lebanon. Um, but I ultimately believe in the good of people. I get messages from people every day telling me that the work I do and the content I make give them hope in the future. And, you know, for people who are Arabic and Muslim, it shows them. I get messages like, Jacob, honestly, like you have no idea how important what you're doing is. Like it really shows the world that not all Yehudi people are like Israelis, that there are Yehudis like me who say not in our name, that don't support that. And I also get messages from fellow anti-Zionist Jewish people who tell me, Jacob, your courage gives me strength to speak out in situations where maybe their whole family are Zionists. So I have no choice but to keep moving forward. And obviously, the work I'm doing out here on the ground in Egypt with the people of Palestine, that really kind of helps me break through, because I know there's so much good. Because people, at the end of the day, people are still suffering. They need our help. So, like that day after that attack, you know, I met an Egyptian dentist who's going to help us out giving free dental work to, the Gazans that are here. And then I went to the factory where my friend, we have a textile factory where we make clothing and Crocs and mattresses and sleeping bags. We packed up a shipping container, sending out to Lebanon, and we also just went over the hoodies, shirts, sweatshirts that we made for the kids in Gaza here. So I guess doing those things and seeing a smile on people and knowing that I'm doing good, that kind of helps me keep my humanity and keep focused, even in the face of such evil and horrible things.
I want to get onto your current work we're doing in Cairo at the moment, but I'd like
Yeah.
to maybe start with your background and how you first got introduced to the concept of Zionism.
Well, that's kind of two different questions, I would say. I mean, as far as the work out here, I came out here with a humanitarian group like a month and a half ago. Because at a certain point, there's only so many protests and boycotting and content I can make in America before like you feel like you want to roll your sleeves up and get in the game. And like, I've tried to look into ways of getting to Gaza to be directly on the ground, but those who know, because the Zions are always like, if you love them so much, why don't you go to Gaza? And I'm like, dude, you think I can just like go to the border and just walk into Gaza like to help out? No, IOF will shoot me in the head. Um, so I mean, so I'm out here doing important work. But to answer your other question too, I mean, it's something I've always known about. I used to be a social worker. I went to graduate school at Columbia University. I worked in mental health for several years. I'm very conscious of things like white supremacy, white privilege, racism, Islamophobia. I've always used my voice and place to speak out for the oppressed. Um, I think as far as Israel and Palestine go, it's something that I always knew about. I think, I kind of feel bad because I feel like it's something that the world kind of just accepted at a certain point where it's just like, yeah, like Israel, they're going to oppress the Palestinians. Like it is what it is. And we kind of just put it on the back burner. But obviously, October 7th was a huge wake up call for everyone and the things that preceded that. So it's like at a point now where like you have to make your choice made. You can't sit on the sidelines. You're either with the Zionists, with the genocide, or you're with us who stand for humanity and stand to stop this and hopefully achieve end the occupation and the apartheid.
So would you say that you never really considered yourself a Zionist?
Oh no, I was never a Zionist like that. I was never like on that I'm Israel chai, whatever shit they be saying. I mean, I went to, all American Jews, we get a free trip to Israel, Palestine, sorry, for the age of 18 and 25. And they do that very much on purpose to try and seduce you with the Judaism and to make you feel this like connection to the land, even though me, like most Zionists you'll meet in America, I mean, I'm not a Zion, but like they're Ashkenazi Jews like me. My family came to America in 1905, 1907 from Ukraine, from Russia. We have no Semitic blood, all right? The fact that people that look like me will say that that land is theirs and that they're from Judea is literally batshit crazy. Like, so to answer your question, no, I've never been like a rah rah. Because when I went out there, like yes, I got seduced a little bit, but it wore off in a week. Like you see the fact that we need soldiers walking around with us all the time, like that doesn't seem like it's a place that it's supposed to be like the place for Jewish safety. But I'm like, I would argue that they just come to New York, come to LA. Like America loves getting on its knees for Israelis. Like have them just come over here, all right? Let's leave Palestine for the Palestinians.
With October the 7th, a lot changed on that day and since. For Jewish activists, a lot of relationships changed as well since then. What would you say was the effect of October the 7th on your relationships with friends and family and such?
Yeah, I mean, the day after October 7th, I made a story post, kind of contextualizing what happened. Like, obviously, what happened, people were unalive that day and things like that, but I made sure to be like, hey guys, like let's keep this in perspective here. Like they've been oppressed for 75 years. This isn't like them. They're not going after them because they're Jews. They're going after them because they're occupying their land. If it was the French that were in Palestine, they'd be fighting the French. Like it's not about religion. And when I did that, everyone came for me. People from elementary school, friends, Jewish people. They were like, "Oh, like you're a sellout. You're a capo. You're walking us to the gas chambers." Like the most biggest like gaslighting. There's family I don't talk to anymore because they're Zionists, and I just can't get down with that. Um, I pretty much walked away from a lot of my friends. My best friends walked away from me because they think like, oh, I'm radicalized because I say end the genocide and free Palestine. Um, I pretty much, but I'm feeling good because I found a new community of friends and people that share the same values as I do. And it's been really amazing being embraced by the Arabic and Muslim community for what I do because I've basically been ostracized from the Jewish community. Because yes, most of the Jew are Zionists. It's not the 95% number you keep hearing. I highly doubt that's the truth. It's probably more like 60, 70%. But I'm just gonna do what's right. I mean, I'm sure that there were Germans that were against what the Nazis did back in World War II, and I'm sure they called them probably self-hating Germans and things like that. So part of being a true ally to a cause means sacrifice, and I'm willing to sacrifice everything for this because it's what's right.
I mean, it's really brave of you to go through with that and sacrifice so much. With regards to Jewish activism, we see a lot of Jews at the forefront of university campus protests.
Right.
Yet, even though that's the case, people, Zionists specifically, say these places are no-go zones for Jews, that the people running these protests are
Right.
anti-Semites, and even accusing them of being Hamas or
Right.
Iran backed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the kind of like what how do you feel when you hear these kind of accusations being
It, it's
levied at
it, it's
activists like that?
disgusting. It's this self-victimization complex that Zionists have, that they feel like they're constantly under attack. When in reality, look at America, the only people I see being violently attacked are people who are Muslim or Arabic or Palestinian. Look at the girl the other day, this was it, the 7-year-old, where the guy came up to her and sliced her neck and stuff and said something. He's former IOF as well. It disgusts me the way they tried to demonize the encampments. It was during Passover. I literally went to an encampment where we had a Passover Seder, and our Muslim brothers and sisters were there with us reading from the Haggadah and everything like that. So this experience has actually made me closer to my Judaism as a result, because being with fellow anti-Zionist Jews, like, we know the true teachings of Judaism, and that's why we speak so loudly. And that's why I made those videos that went viral. You might remember, like, the video I did, like, teaching Zionist Jews how to walk in New York City. It went super viral because it's just preposterous the way they sell. I mean, you can see video after video of that video of that lady who was standing in the middle of an encampment, and she's like, has a shirt on, says, "I am a Jew." Like, not like, I am not afraid. Literally, there are people dancing around, like, having a good time. Like, no one's bothered by, like, they come to our rallies to purposely try and rile us up and have an interaction. They
Yeah,
want us to, like, sweat. So again, it's just a self-victimization complex. They are the true anti-Semites, the Zionists.
yeah. Um, Now you are an entertainer. You're a comic. You're an actor.
Not a
You've been
comic,
in,
TV film actor, content. I don't do
TV film
stand-up
actor.
comedy, so
Okay. So you're an actor. You've done roles in multiple large productions. You've been in Brooklyn
yeah,
Nine-Nine, and
yeah.
there are some people such as Bassem Youssef, for example, who said last year that the opportunities dried up completely when he started speaking out about the genocide. Do you feel that's been the same way for you?
No, I mean, I've been auditioning still. I actually booked more legit TV film work this year than in the last couple previous years because of COVID and everything like that. Um, he's on a very big level. Obviously, I'm well known, but he's super well known. So maybe at that level it affects it. But as far as I know, I mean, I wouldn't know because the way it works is you get auditions through your agent manager. Like, it's not like they're telling you, like, oh, da da da. And my agency, they very much know where I stand, and they don't get political. And like, even when Zionists have contacted them to try and get me dropped, they're like, no, like, we were behind Jacob. So, and I think Hollywood's starting to come around a little bit. More and more actors are coming out, speaking out for Palestine. And I think it's going to get to a point where the people who are super vocal, like Michael Rappaport and Amy Schumer. Michael Rappaport actually used to be a friend of mine. We actually were friends. Like, we hung out before and
Wow.
stuff. I think that's going to be a huge red flag for productions, that they're not going to want to hire them because they know how toxic and how the pro-Pally community will do everything they can to boycott that project. So that's So to answer your question, I'm not really sure, but it's not really my main focus right now. My main goal is to be here in Egypt helping out the people that are from Gaza. And if I had an audition the other day for an HBO show, so it doesn't. I don't think it's to the same level that at my level anyway. To answer your question,
Let's talk about your work in Egypt. So you mentioned before we started filming that you're kind of done with America.
yeah.
Could you like take us through like kind of your thought process there? Like what's made you feel that way?
Well, America has just disgusted me. I mean, the politicians, whether it's Harris or Trump, they're both Zionists. They're both G-siders. So I'm so used to talking on TikTok that I'd be say instead of genocide, I'd be saying G. You have to like watch your
Yeah, yeah.
language so you don't get flagged.
Censor yourself.
But Bakra America. I hate America. Like the people, the apathy of the average American to like just be able to just the privilege that Americans have to just scroll past the video. Like, and I unfollowed pretty much everyone I know in America that I'm friends with in real life or content creators because I just couldn't. I can't live in this dystopian world where they're acting like nothing's happening. Like it isn't our American tax dollars going to pay for this genocide. Like I'm disgusted. Like and people would hit me up like, Jacob, why'd you unfollow me? Like, what did I do wrong? I'm like, well, to be honest with you, I spend a lot of time on social media and I'm not trying to give my attention or energy to anyone who isn't speaking up for the cause or engaging in content. And people would hit me with oh, I really haven't been paying attention. I got to do more research. I'm like, research? Dude, it's been a fucking, sorry, it's been a damn year. Like, that's not an excuse. So that's why like I can't mentally deal with being a part of that American individualistic capitalist system anymore. So I'll go back here and there, like when I book TV film work, go see my family. But for the most part, for now. I'm living in Egypt, baby. Life is much better here.
How are you finding Egypt?
Oh, I love it. The people, the city. There's so much great stuff to see. I went to Alexandria. I still gotta go to Luxor and Sharm el Sheikh or Sharm el Sheikh, something like that. Um, they're so welcoming, honestly, and they all like just love like me being able to experience things with them. Like they know I'll walk around like this with my Star of David out. Like I'll walk around with it, and no one gives me a hard time. Or they'll be like, "Oh, you Yahoo?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Yahudi, but Bakra Israel," and we're instantly best friends. We're instantly best friends. Like when I say that, like they're like, "You're the man, bro." Da, da, da. But if that's the other reason I'm out here is to because obviously my primary thing is to help out the people on the ground and stuff, raise money, things of that nature to help take care of them. But secondly, is to show the world that it's all BS, the things that we're indoctrinated with in the West about Arab and Muslim people being scary, or they don't like Americans, they don't like Jews, they don't like white people. It's all BS. I've been walking around here all the time. It's nothing but love. People don't stare. I'll be the only white person, literally, for miles in some of these neighborhoods. And people don't stare at me. And if anyone does look at me, I say, Salam alaikum. And they say back, Wa alaikum salam. Like, it's really great, Egypt. I'm really enjoying building a new life here.
That's great to hear. And you spoke briefly about the kind of work that you're doing. Could you take us through a bit more of like what drove you to come out to Egypt and what exactly is the work you're doing there to help the people
Yeah, sure.
in
So
Gaza?
like 2 months ago, I came out here with a group of Muslim content creators with a group called East Inspires. You probably know Caucasian Arab Rima. She's very active. She's American Palestinian. Connie Sweets, a few other people, and I didn't know what to expect with the trip. I mean, I knew we were going to be helping people on the ground here, but I didn't really. I guess I really didn't think about beforehand like how it would affect me emotionally. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was traumatizing as a Westerner coming out here to the Muslim world for the first time, and then hearing the stories from people. Like when I have an 8-year-old girl tell me how she watched her father get killed by IOF in front of her eyes, or someone who survived their building being attacked, missiles just dropped on them. It affects you. If you have empathy, if you have humanity, there's no way you can go back to living your normal life. Like you can't just come here for a week. Oh, I'm doing some boxes. Oh, here, look at me on Instagram. I helped. Okay, I'm back to my normal life. Those type of people, we don't want those type of influencers here. We want people who actually give a shit about what's going on and be here for the long haul. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of creators that do that. They'll come out to do something humanitarian thing for a week, and then they're back to business as usual. So that's why I'm here to help out. I'm working with 3 NGOs that I've met here that I actually met through social media. I was able to connect on my own that are here, based here in Cairo on the ground. One of them is called Lauda Auda. We help with housing, food vouchers, medical stuff. They're kind of she didn't really have a lot of social media attention, so she's very excited that I'm bringing donors and things like that, so we can expand the operation. Because unfortunately, we have thousands of families on the list, and we haven't even got to a lot of them just because there's only limited amount of resources. The other one is called Talbot Club. Started by this woman, Marianne, which is amazing. We do psychosocial type things. So we do football a couple times a week with the kids and everything. We have coaching, art therapy. We just had like a kind of a summer program thing that was like, for a few hours a day. And studies show that when you give kids some type of psychosocial stimulation, it helps them with processing and deal with the trauma that they've been through. And then I also work with a woman named Nicole and her husband who live out here. Nicole Jenny's. They have a textile factory, so they make clothing and Crocs and mattresses and sleeping bags. We just sent a truck, a crate to Lebanon yesterday, and we just raised funds to make 5,000 sweater hoodies for the kids of Gaza that are here. So that just and they make it at rock bottom prices. Because unfortunately, there are businesses out here that are trying to make a buck off of what's going on. So it's good to meet businesses and manufacturers that are willing to, put profit aside and focus on just helping us stretch the donation money as much as possible.
That's truly amazing, the kind of work that you're doing out there. Now, obviously, the most of the stories that we hear coming out of Gaza, they're depressing, they're horrifying,
Yeah,
uh, it's quite saddening. But we also have some inspirational stories. There's a lot of people have been inspired by the people of Gaza because
yeah,
of their steadfastness and how they've been able to continue
yeah,
living even though everything around them is falling apart. What would you
yeah.
say is the most inspiring story you've heard in your time in Cairo, or maybe before?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like one particular story. I can just kind of speak to the resilient nature of the Palestinians, their ability to still put a smile on their face even when they've maybe lost, most of their family. Um, even in the worst things, it's alhamdulillah, mashallah, like they are able to still find hope. And it honestly it inspires me to keep going because like obviously I'm a Jewish American. I haven't been through the things that they've been through, and just that they're able to still march on and want to have a life and make sure the kids are happy. It inspires me. Because all the people here, like they want to work, they don't want to hand out. Like the guy, Palestinians are proud people. But unfortunately, they're in horrible situations where they don't have work permits here, or their kids can't go to school. So there's a whole range of things. But I think the Palestinian spirit is kind of what I admire the most, and their sense of community and faith in Allah.
The elections in the United States will be coming up soon. We
Yeah,
have, on the one side, someone who's currently committing genocide, and on the other side, someone who promises to commit genocide. And obviously, you have Dr. Jill Stein as the Green Party candidate, as well as other independents. What kind of what are your thoughts going into this election? What do you hope for, and what do you expect would happen?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think things in the country need to get far worse for people to start waking up. So I mean, Trump, at least you kind of know what you're going to get with him. He doesn't mince words. Harris is a neoliberal, which I absolutely despise, like, because she'll tell you, act like she cares, but she's still sending them billions of dollars and gaslights us and everything. And I'm on record. I don't think the governments are going to save us. Like, America is not going to stop funding Israel. That's why that BS thing that they posted yesterday about, oh, we're going to do a weapons embargo if you guys don't stop doing G side to Palestinians in 30 days. Like, oh, just conveniently, it's after the election, right? Like how stupid do they think we are? So I think we need a people's revolution. People need to start caring about each other. I think things need to get much worse in America for people to start getting activated and for these politicians, these corporations, to start shaking in their boots because the people united will never be defeated.
Do you think, I mean, you said that you're done with America, but do you think you might have a role in kind of helping push things forward in terms of making the American system a better place, a better system for people?
I don't know, man. Just to be honest with you, like we're so ingrained in capitalistic thinking and selfishness that's why I talk about we need to change people's minds. We need to change people's hearts. Like people just go on like there's nothing. Like I, it's I'm not going to say it's a lost cause, but for me, hopefully my actions out here help make people, Americans, stop and think like, huh, maybe this is bullshit, like the way that we're treated. The fact that we just had hurricanes in America where lots of people died, whole neighborhoods were flooded, destroyed, and Congress wouldn't even pass an appropriations bill to help pay for that. But they got billions to send to Israel. They got billions to send over there. So that's why, like, I don't feel like Republican, Democrat, they're both two wings of the same dirty bird, and that's why I can't participate in that system anymore.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. I mean, here in the United Kingdom, we feel like we had the same kind of choices, either between the Conservatives who were helping
Yeah,
and the Labour Party. It's a similar way. It's interesting. Countries like the US, United Kingdom, and others, they say they promote democracy in the world, and yet we only have one of two choices usually. Like,
right.
what are your thoughts on that kind of weird double standard?
I mean, yeah, America government is evil. I don't know what else to tell you about it. They act like we have a moral high horse above others, like, but America, UK, like, the governments are evil. They promote imperialism, colonialism, capitalism, like all the things to try and take resources. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the Iraq War. Like, we literally invaded a whole country and killed 1 million Iraqis just because of, so we blame them for something that Saudi-born people did, you know. Um, so it's just the hypocrisy of the government, like the way they try and gaslight us. Like they don't care about people, like they don't give a shit. Like the politicians. That's why it's like so weird to me the way people worship like Trump or like Harry. Like they act like they actually get it. That's like believing that the stripper actually likes you. You know.
Well, you've mentioned previously your skits that went viral. One of them is, how to walk in New York City. I think that was like the first one. Uh,
Yeah.
are you going to be making more skits in the future in Cairo?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm making content. I mean, I posted teaching Zionists how to walk in a Muslim country, but that one I kind of did joking, where I'm like, "Hey guys, I'm here in Cairo, totally safe." Da da. And then a guy in a kufiya wrapped on his face comes up as like chloroforms me, and then I wake up at the pyramids, and he's like, "Oh, you think you built these? All right, then clean them up." Like like you just kind of I like to feed into their like ridiculousness of thinking like that, like we're not welcome here, that like they want to kill us. Like it sucks that like people like baby boomer generation Jews, like they legit think that all Muslims want to kill all Jews. Full stop. They genuinely think that in their warped, messed up, racist, Islamophobic brain, which is it's chara. It's nuts. It's just you can't. That's why I'm like, I don't think things are gonna. That's why it's gonna. Unfortunately, it's gonna take decades for this to change. Like for as long as Zionism has existed, it might take just as long to reverse things. So that's why, like the baby boom generation, I can't wait till they're out of the picture because the newer generation are more progressive and they're smarter and they see the information. This is the first genocide being broadcast live on our phones. There's no excuse. And at this point, a year, maybe I can understand. Okay, maybe you're and you what like in the beginning after October 7th, but we're a year in. Nothing that nothing that happened on October 7th can then justify what's happening now.
Mm. I mean, we've seen celebrities speak out, slowly more and more have, but a lot of people, I mean, refuse to say anything, refuse to touch the issue with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah,
Why do you think that is?
I think most people are selfish. They're worried about losing, opportunity. I get it for the average Joe. Like if you have a job or you can't really talk about your job, but look, I'm very disappointed with a lot of actors, content creators, people that don't speak up. Shame on them. But hopefully they come around, and because I want them to be redeemable, we need people in this fight. I don't want to just say bad, bad. Like obviously, like someone like DJ Khaled. Everyone hates DJ Khaled because he's
Yeah,
Palestinian and he hasn't said a word. Um, but we need more people to speak up. And honestly, and I said this the other day, I'm sorry I have to be the one that said the Yehudi that has to say it, but there's a lot of Arabic Muslim content creators like me who don't say a thing about Palestine. Or they might say, "Oh yeah, free Palestine," but they do nothing. They don't raise money. They don't post action flyers. They don't put anything at risk, and that disgusts me. And Allah will be their judge for that because that is wrong.
absolutely. For those who might be scared, or I mean, they could be quite popular and might truly have a fear that if they speak out, they'll lose everything. What kind of message do you have to encourage them?
I mean, I think a lot of people are overblowing that. That's how Zionists operate. They want to make threaten you. They want to be like make you scared, like things are gonna happen. But a lot of it is BS. They're just that's how they live is through threats. You'll find other ways to make it happen. Look, I don't care if I work another day in Hollywood ever again, but I know people are going to support me because obviously it's a little different for me because I'm a public figure and I'm out here. So I can't use this advice for every single person for average Joe or Jane. Um, but I think way too many people try and use that as a scapegoat excuse to be like, "Oh, I'm scared. What happened?" No, you just don't have any balls. You have no courage. Like like I'm willing to lose everything. I'm literally willing to die for this. I'm not being facetious. Like, if I end up being martyred someday, which I truly do think will happen to me one day, because at a certain point I'm going to make so much. I'm making so much noise and bringing so much attention. It's only a matter of time before they come for me. But you know, Inshallah, that's how I work. I'm at peace with the world and what I'm doing. But that's just me. I think it's going to take time for other people to get to that place.
I mean, I have truly huge respect for the kind of mentality you have and the work you're trying to do there. And you've mentioned previously that you've had to kind of censor the words that you use. You say G-side instead of genocide.
Yeah.
What degree of self-censoring have you had to do in order to stay on social media? Like, I know maybe it's different between
Oh
TikTok
no,
and
no. When I
Instagram.
say that, that's just to trick the algorithm. I mean, you see my page and things I post. I don't hold back. I post everything. I'm talking about very important things. It's just you can't use certain words the way that artificial intelligence on these platforms work. Like, you can't say like murder or like genocide or Hitler or things like that. So you have to use you know, like now they're saying like they'll flag you if you use the word Zionism in a way that's being derogatory. So I say Zion schmatzis now, especially on TikTok Live. I've been going TikTok Live a lot, and that's where I kind of get into trouble because TikTok Live is like the main way I earn a living now from like people, gifters, and things like that. And I'll get banned for like a day or a week just because I start, I might say a word that triggers the system. So it's just you have to work around those things, but I'm more than willing to do what it takes because and even we were pretty much everyone's shadow banned on Meta. Shadow ban is like they make it so your content only gets seen by the people that follow you. It doesn't go out to the wider audience. But my audience has luck. I mean, I've been famous way before October 7th. That's the thing. That's why it's funny when people are like, "Oh, he's a grifter. He's just trying to get famous." I'm like, bro, I've been had billions of views. Like, I didn't need to do this. I didn't need to stick my neck out. I'm doing this because it's what's right. I have a responsibility, especially as a Jewish American, to use my platform in a way that advocates for the people of Palestine and hopefully educates people and changes hearts and minds to end this genocide.
On a final note, what is in store for you and your work in the near future? What do you have coming up that people should keep a lookout for?
Well, I mean, I'm just going to continue building the relationships out here in Cairo, helping people as much as we can, raising money. I want to start bringing donors who are willing to give substantial amounts to come out here with me and shadow me for a few days and experience the work we're doing on the ground first. Because I think once we have that, the experience will change them forever, and they're going to want to help even more and then spread it to their other friends and things like that. So that's kind of like my main focus out here. As far as TV film goes, I'm in theaters right now. Saturday Night Movie, directed by Jason Reitman. It's in theaters across America, nationwide. I have a scene in that. Couple other things, but just continuing to make content, make connections, make relationships, and keep hopefully keep working towards the end of the occupation and the apartheid and a free Palestine.
Thank you so much, Jacob, for joining us today.
All right, thank you so much for having me on. Y'all have a wonderful day. And follow me at Jacob Berger Actor, JACOBBERGER Actor. All right. Thank you, everybody. Y'all have a good one.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for all your work, and I wish you all the best.